we on?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So, where is this thing? It's working. Okay. Got it. All right, it is now 5:33, and I am going to call this welcome. I wanted to welcome everybody to this evening's edition of the Town of Barnstable's Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee. And I want to introduce the members that are present, and we can start right here.
Phyllis Millica-Tuitt.
Kate Gulliver, INS.
Ann Rowland, Centerville.
Oh, okay, and I'm your chair for this evening, Farley Lewis from Hyannisport. Okay, and please note that this meeting is recorded and broadcast on Channel 18 in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. I must inquire whether anyone is taping this meeting, and if so, do please make their presence known. Seeing none, we will proceed. Okay, the first item of business would be the approval of minutes for February 13th, 2023.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes have been approved. Okay. So, new business, presentation by Janet Milkman, Barnstable Land Trust, regarding requested approval of 3 conservation restrictions located on Commerce Road in Barnstable, known as lots 13, 14, 15, Bowlesfield.
Shall I bring the maps up for you to see, or do you have copies of them?
We do have, I think,
Okay.
Everyone has copies, but they're also in Laserfish if you'd rather put them up on the screen and go through them.
What do you prefer? You want to look at?
Put them on the screen.
put them on the
Yeah.
screen?
Okay.
Okay, great.
If you want to, or I can do it, whatever is easier for you. You can also, this is not connect, it's wireless, so you can bring it over to your chair
Oh,
if you want.
okay.
Oh,
Mobile unit.
okay. I'll do that. So I'm assuming I'm opening the CRs. Okay. And I'll open this. I think this is the right one. Yeah, okay. Let's see, is there a way to get? The way to make it bigger?
To like make it the full screen.
Yeah. Shall I let you drive? Maybe I should.
Click around it.
Oh.
Okay, there you go, it's a little better. Did
Yeah.
you want to take it, or do you want me to do it? You want to try?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
try. Okay. All right. So this group has been introduced to this project before, and I think actually what I want to do is maybe show you the other, oops. How do we get back to that other, oh, here.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. So I want to put this in context for you. So, what did you do again? You went,
Yep, the little dots.
okay. So, just to show you where these lots are, this is just showing one lot, but there's 2 others right around it. But it shows you where it is in context to Marispin Creek, to Barnstable Harbor, and to Cobb's Village. It's, let's see. Show you the other one. And again, this is just one of the 3 parcels, but what this shows you is the conservation land nearby. So these are all owned by either Mass Audubon or Barnstable Land Trust. And these are restricted through conservation restrictions to Barnstable Land Trust. So what this represents is the final 3 parcels of a decades-long effort with the Brazelton and Lowell families to conserve most of what used to be a 100-acre farm here. So the 3 lots that we're working on now, they've been renamed and sort of the boundaries have been redrawn according to new plans as part of the development of regional impact, which it once was. But the idea is that each of the 4, actually 3 of the 4 siblings are now taking one of these lots. And the project has been in the works since 2019. It's taken this long because there's a very long wait time for the conservation land tax credits. So now the time has come for them to get their tax credits so we can close this year. This lot is the one that we came to you before with, because this is the one that Barnstable Land Trust is buying. And we will give a conservation restriction to the Compact of Conservation, Cape Cod Conservation Trust, Mark Robinson. These 2 lots here, the conservation restriction will be donated by the family owners to Barnstable Land Trust. So essentially, we're conserving the rest of this. This lot is owned by one of the family members who will continue to live there. This lot is owned by another family member who will continue to live there. So basically, the last pieces are getting conserved. And what we're asking you to do is to review and approve the conservation restrictions for these other 2 lots, which are now called 14 and 15. And the goal for this whole project really is to leave the field open, to leave the view to the harbor. If any of you are locals, you will have walked this loop many times. Hundreds of people do it every day around from, Main Street in Barnstable, up Millway, and around on Commerce back to 6A. And it is really one of the few places that you can actually see Barnstable Harbor from the road. There will be a small trail for public access. It's not actually going to be on the piece that we own. It's going to be on the lot 14. That was the family's wishes. But really, the value of this property is in habitat protection and view protection. It's not meant to be a destination for anyone other than local walkers. We have received funding. We haven't received the funding yet, but approval for funding from the Community Preservation Committee in Barnstable, and also a state conservation partnership grant for this project. And the rest of the money that we've raised has come from private donors. That's just for lot 3. There's no purchase involved in the other 2 lots. Our intent for this project, other than sort of maintaining the habitat, the buffer to the area of critical environmental concern and the harbor, is to potentially use the front part of the field closest to Commerce Road for cultivation and propagation of native seeds in partnership with the Native Plant Trust, which is looking for places to grow native seeds. So we may do that. It used to be farmed. It was farmed by Tim Friery, who farms the Cape Cod, the county farm now. It's farmed by Christy Cap for a while. So it's been in agriculture, and we may bring back that use a little bit if we are able. Otherwise, it's going to stay an open field. We'll mow it once a year and try and pull out the woody invasives or the woody natives so that the view remains. So
Very good.
that's it. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I don't think there's, thank you very much for your presentation, and I don't know that, we as a group can really, do anything more than to render our consensus for this, and we'll have Ann write a letter of approval. So if anybody has any thoughts for or against, please speak up.
I can't imagine a comment on against. I mean, it's such a beautiful area,
Yeah.
and to have it, to be conserved is fabulous,
Yeah.
just fabulous.
So commend you for the work that's gone into
Yes.
this, especially, I'm sure it's been a long
It all
haul.
looks very simple, but I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
My name's Gordon Starr, I'm a town councilor. My question is, the public access is required for, is that, okay? And how will you stop people from wandering beyond that last star? Is there gonna,
Well,
something
there's
happen?
two ways. One, I think we might put up a little piece of split rail
Yeah.
at the end.
Just-
We're going to have a bench there. But then we're going to let the grass grow. So where there isn't a trail, you've seen how high that grass goes. And so I think people will be very reluctant to
Yeah.
walk in there.
can you see the lighthouse from there? Not quite.
I don't think so. From sort of near Polly's house on the road, you
Mhm.
might be able to see it,
Okay,
where that barn is,
okay, just wondering.
but not from the bench.
Not
No,
from the
You will
bench?
not be able to see
Yeah.
it from the bench. No.
Okay,
You
Yeah.
could also plant a lot of poison ivy or something right there.
A few ticks.
put up
Yeah, I
signs about
mean,
ticks,
I
you
think
know?
people are reluctant to walk in tall grass.
Yep. Mhm.
And I should have said, I'm Janet Milkman from the Barnstable Land Trust. I should have said that in the beginning.
Okay.
So I'm going to say
Okay.
thanks. There's a lot of work here. Years and raising money and,
Yeah.
yes, lots of details. You can see by this packet.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much, Farley. I apologize for running a little late, and thank you, Janet, for your presentation. Quite frankly, I've never heard of the Native Seed Conservancy? Plant Conservancy.
Native
So where are
Plant
they
Trust, yeah.
located, and how did you partner
Yeah.
with them?
They're in Framingham. What was their name?
Through the New England Wildflowers.
Yes.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
The New England Wildflower Society. It's an amazing place. I highly recommend going there if you ever have a chance, but they are one of the few places. They also have farms. They have a farm in Western Mass and I think somewhere else as well. They provide seed for, departments of transportation that want to plant native seeds for the medians. And there is so much demand that they're looking for partners to
Interesting.
produce more. So I learned that when I went to visit recently, and I said, oh, we'd like to do that, so.
Oh, very neat. And thanks to the Brazelton family for being such good custodians of this exquisite piece of property.
Yeah, it's not often that you have a family that's willing to work with you over 4 decades, piece by piece to conserve their property, so.
Nice, okay. Any further discussion? No? Okay, I guess we're all set then.
You probably should take a motion.
We don't have a quorum.
We don't have a clue. Yeah,
Taking a consensus.
Sorry.
yeah. So I think, are we in agreement that we are
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
consensus
Yep.
to approve this? Okay.
To recommend.
Recommend. All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, thank you very much.
Okay. All right, next up, discussion about the proposed walking library. So, Allison?
Alicia.
Yeah. Listen, yeah. Thank you very much for attending this evening, and we have I'd spent some time going through the proposed walks or additions to the walks that we might add to the walking library, and I don't know, were you able to finally get the spreadsheet that I sent? Okay, good. Thank you. I apologize for not sending it in a proper way the first time out. But I wanted to see if you have any comments to make right now as to where you think we are and where we should be headed.
Alicia Messier, the GIS coordinator
Oh, yeah.
for the town of Barnstable.
Okay,
I don't want to say we're in a bad place, but we're in the midst of, and I think I talked to you at another meeting about the GPS project.
yes.
That
Right.
took a little bit longer than I was anticipating to get moving forward.
Okay,
Training staff and trying to get something situated with regards to
okay,
collecting lines and collecting points and having a data dictionary, which is inside the GPS unit to collect everything more easily. So we're focused right now on West Barnstable
okay,
and currently on the checklist. So it still takes time to go through and correct everything. But currently, Seaberry Farm has been GPSed, Wayland Conservation Area has been GPSed.
okay,
We also have Jenkins Wildlife, Old Jail Lane Conservation Area, Otis Atwood,
Oh,
Meeting
wow,
House
great.
Farm, Bridge Creek Sanctuary, and this week, we're working on Shaw's Lane Trail,
oh, great, okay,
and potentially the Cape Cod Community College area.
okay,
So trying to just get those, for each of these, it can take a couple of days to just update that, and then talking to staff that's doing the GPS work and comparing it to some of the areas that you guys are interested in. The trails don't necessarily match up with some of the lines, so we are going to create this walking library. I just want to make sure we put forward the most accurate information that we
of
can.
course, yeah, great.
And so I got this week, and I forwarded this to staff so that we can make appropriate changes. I'm going to make sure that we have each of these as a draft, and they'll be drafts until we finish the
Okay.
GPS project.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, yeah, I have what, one, two?
There's three.
Three, yes.
And we
Okay.
can finish the rest of them.
Okay. Is it possible to get one of the Bridge Creek Conservation Area?
Like a completed version?
Yes.
We can try and get that out. And it's just so specifically, you guys are only looking at, like the Bridge Creek Conservation Area is a lot larger. So it's just knowing that that's the specific area that you guys are interested in that entire
The
network of trails.
Yeah.
Trails.
the big,
Yeah.
the big
Yeah,
loop.
because
Yeah.
there's a lot of trails, as we're finding that are cut that aren't necessarily on the maps.
Yeah.
I was just having a quick discussion. Old Jail, and
Yep.
from conversations with staff, Old Jail has a lot of them.
Uh-huh,
So,
yeah.
not that I'm saying loops could change, but also loops could change. I've had conversations with conservation about even just changing the way things are going to flow.
Yeah,
So it's just coming down the pike on that.
okay. All right, well, if you could, forward us, as much current information as you can, that would be great. And then I can keep working on the flow chart or the, spreadsheet that I got started with, and we could do the links for the maps and stuff, so.
And I
Sounds
think
like you've,
on the maps, I want to put something in because it's just showing one general area. It's not showing everything potentially. I think I wanted to put something on there if you guys are okay with it, that it was specific to the LAPC project. I haven't come up with the language yet, but I don't know if you guys had, but like this is a specific project having to do with the LAPC.
It actually was one of the action items from the Open Space and Recreation Plan.
Okay, so is this like, is that something that I can put in here specific to these? Because we're gonna have so many trail maps out there. I just wanted to specify what these ones are supposed to be for.
yep, okay.
So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to work on, a quick little,
Now, we voted to change our name, to delete the land acquisition and go to preservation.
Station.
So,
No,
so
we're going to open space.
Oh, open space, right.
Yep, so,
So we should probably update that.
but it hasn't been voted on yet.
Well,
Approved.
We didn't
Not
vote it this
officially
time,
yet.
but it was,
well, I mean, by the time we finish trying to get these drafts together. I just wanted to make sure that if people had questions, not that I'm saying they're going to come to the GIS department, but if they had questions specific to, I wanted to make sure that they know where to go to talk to
right.
you about, like, what is this all about? Maybe it's like an engagement thing. Somebody has it and they know, who to go to. Maybe it could potentially get members, you never know. So the more information that we can put on these as letters of just
Okay.
giving props to you guys with wanting this.
Can I ask a question about the GPS? So do you have a GPS, something you walk around with and
Yes.
it puts
And
it
it-
onto the map?
It collects a point, it depends on what it is. So if it's an individual point, it's a collection of points that does the average. If it's line work, it takes a point every second. And it has to do with your tree coverage. So if you
Okay,
have,
so
yeah.
it's
if-
too much.
it can take a really long time because you need to make sure that you have enough. I mean,
You can't get
I
ahead.
could bore you with all the details.
You
of
can't get
GPS.
ahead of the information coming back.
No, the satellites triangulate your location, and you have to have a certain triangulation in order for it to collect the information. And you can lose signal on a multitude of locations if you have heavy canopy. Any kind of evergreens cause havoc. The needles cause havoc with satellite connection. And that's different than, say, your cell phone. It's a different kind of collection.
Yeah.
So.
Can you use AmeriCorps volunteers, or is it just easier to have one person do it all?
I mean, I had thought about doing AmeriCorps, but it's one of those things where having a staff member have that.
One person, yeah.
Well, you can refer back to the staff member that's walked the trail. So AmeriCorps comes, they're great, but then they leave. So then you're stuck with, oh, where was that? So I really wanted to have our GIS specialist own this project, learn everything, and then it's more of an ownership, and they feel more connected to. And any of this stuff, like I probably couldn't answer most of the questions on the trails because I haven't walked them, but he could definitely answer all the questions, and he's gone through, and we've noted areas for conservation to work on for areas that flood, that maybe the bridges need to be, so there could be AmeriCorps projects, so there's gonna be a lot of feedback from doing the trail work, so.
I just wanted to share these are two maps that GIS had done for us previously for walking weekends, and I didn't know if you would have any record of them within your files?
I mean, we should.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to leave them with me, I never not take maps, but some of the things that you guys had discussed at previous meetings was to get rid of the arrows,
Yeah,
to get rid of, so that was kind of like how we came up with the general,
right,
to get rid of the start, the finish.
yeah, okay.
And I didn't know, so based on what we've provided, I kind of wanted to know if there was stuff that you wanted to change on it. I mean, you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. These are your maps. So it's whatever you want to put to the public. It's completely up to you. This is just, that's why it's a draft, but it's a first draft of potentially many.
Great.
So it needs,
Okay.
you guys need to be
So-
happy with it.
Yeah, maybe, Phyllis, have you seen the Santuit map?
No, but that was
She can have it.
the combination of the GIS from the town, and then AmeriCorps did some work on it afterwards. But we walked it together.
Okay, great. So, no, I think I mean, what do you think, Chris? Because this is your baby.
Well, this is an impressive amount of work already, so I appreciate that. For the public's benefit and for those who might not have been privy to a prior conversation, can you explain about how former technology doesn't always match up, and that's why you're doing a comprehensive overhaul of the mapping?
Yeah, so I'm new to the town. I'm getting close to a year, a couple months away. But reviewing what we had, and it was in different, it was collected in different years, it was collected with different GPS units, it was done over different projects. One of the things I have an extensive GPS background, so it's especially with the trails. I like to make sure that there's enough accuracy to these so that we all feel comfortable with it. And I'm also trying to work with conservation so that we have a yearly review of the trails so we keep them updated versus waiting 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of things have changed. People can get lost. Things aren't always marked correctly. So it's kind of, I'm trying to.
It's not universal, unfortunately.
That was another thing that we're working on. So this is going to be a collaborative effort between GIS, conservation, anybody else that wants to do trail maps. We're also doing this for emergency services, so we're trying to have everything as consistent as we can.
Great. Okay.
This one invades Mashpee because it was purchased with money from Barnstable as well as Mashpee as well as the state.
Yep. Yes, cross-town trails are fun. And I've contacted Sandwich about getting all of their trail information to see what they have, to see if it's of any value. I've also reached out to Mashpee to see what they have as well, just so that I can cross-reference all of it. We may end up just doing some of it ourselves for consistency purposes, just so that we have it to show, like, it's part of a whole conservation area, but this is definitely where this crosses over and this is where this leads you. So I just had, Sandwich just reached out and was asking me for information because they're working on a trail
Oh, good.
a trail project for their natural resources department, so it's
Great.
the hot topic.
Excellent. Well, I think, the focus is definitely on getting outdoors. So these are very important for all the towns, I think. Yep.
One more request, and I'm not sure, I'm glad you're working with conservation.
Yes.
I'm wondering if it's possible to work into this interdepartmental coordination, that when there's an opportunity, can we put up street signs in the woods for the old names of the road, like Old Neck Road? This goes through that loop in the college.
The only, I can't answer for conservation because whatever's on the property is something that they have to maintain.
I see. Mhm.
I mean, I could definitely have a conversation with them to see if that's something they're interested in. And when I say that the GIS specialist is collecting everything, he is collecting everything. If there is one of those signs that has a number 12 on it, 14, 15, it's being collected. If there's a bridge, it's being collected, and there's pictures too. So we're trying to catalog everything that's out there. He's also GPS every sign that exists out there.
So what I contend is there are not enough signs for safety reasons for people who might get lost.
Yes, I
So
can.
in this Old Neck Road, Old Neck Loop, it starts on the red trail and it hooks onto the green trail to get you back to your parking spot. So if there could be a sign that says Old Neck Road on that, which was originally an ancient road that became Huckins Neck Road
Yeah.
before the Mid-Cape Highway was there. So I'm just saying that might be some guidance for people who get lost.
Some more signage. I think we had talked about in the between the conservation and we had a meeting with the fire chief in West Barnstable and GIS and definitely the marking of trails was part of that conversation. And trying to come up with colors that work better against the trees, and again, the loops, and to make it more visible, and so all of those things came up as part of, so it's gonna be, I'm not calling it an overhaul, but there are areas that are larger that you could potentially get lost in versus the smaller ones.
I've gotten lost. But no, this is so heartening, especially knowing how robust the use of our trails were during the pandemic. So in response, and this has been part of the, on our wish list for in one of the action items of the open space and recreation plan. So the plan is housed with the planning department, but this committee was involved with updating it and putting some forward-thinking action items on the wish list. And that has been languishing, I think, over a couple iterations of the open space and recreation plan. So this is very heartening. Thank you.
No, I am, the trails is definitely a passion that I've had for a really long time, so I will push to keep this chugging along as much as I can.
Yep.
In between other things.
Okay.
So, but it is.
How do you integrate with when you hit up against Audubon or?
So
You know, like
with
the-
their
like
with their specific
They
trail
have
systems.
trails that are probably not GPSed, but they're.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where I need to talk to our conservation about.
I don't want to make it bigger.
No, well, I mean, I came from Dennis, which had a much smaller trail network, but I actually walked all of the trails there, and as part of that, I did all of the other organizations that had trails in it, just so
Okay,
that
yeah,
we had
yeah.
a more comprehensive list. So we may end up just having to because we're trying to tick the boxes of recreation as well as emergency services, we may just have to go out, but we have to get permission. I want to make sure that I do it the right way, so that the organizations know that we're doing it, so.
Okay. Yep, that's a good.
Rather
point.
than a surprise, we mapped
Yep.
all your stuff.
Well, that's great news. But it serves not only residents, but the visitors and tourists. So I know that the Chamber of Commerce was pitching on their banner the attributes of the town of Barnstable, and one was trails. And I'm like,
Yeah, you definitely have you have a lot of miles of trails. I will commend you for that as a town. It's not an easy, especially ones that interconnect. There isn't always that forethought for towns or cities, so I commend you for that. A lot of times they're broken up, and then you have to drive to another, and it's just small little.
I don't know if we can take the credit for that. But thank you.
Yeah. So we do, I think you're aware that we are going to, collaborate with AmeriCorps in June to do trailblazing over in the Bridge Creek area. So that's still on the docket. So we'll be using the same blaze colors that exist there now, which is red. And we're
It's just the red spaces?
yeah, it's the red trail going through Bridge Creek, starting behind the fire station and ending up on Church Street.
Yep.
Yep, by the Jenkins lot.
Yeah, there's been conversations that we had in that space with the fire chief about, as I said, changing colors, but
Yeah,
not the red. It's other ones,
yeah,
that, north of the red.
yeah. Well, I know, I mean, the color coding system was set up, obviously quite some time ago. So, I mean, the blue is north of the red and green is south of the red and,
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of logic to it. I don't know in terms of visibility if there's issues with those colors or what, but, at any rate, as long as we keep the red line, which, goes right straight through the town,
Yeah.
is
As a whole, yeah, and I don't think there was any conversation of changing the red. It's everything else that touches everything else is under review. So
Okay.
as this goes on, we will complete the GPS, and as I said, it takes time to actually just go through and review the information that is collected. So because of the fact that we have leaf off, I'm trying to have the specialist go out as many days as he can to collect it, and then we're gonna go and sit down with conservation and take a hard look at the line work that exists in some of the issue areas.
So
And
would you like to set up any kind of schedule to follow up on the work that you're doing?
I can keep you informed as to where we are.
Okay,
And when we have the conservation meeting, I can talk to Ed
okay,
and see where he's at with his comfort level of bringing people in, because it's gonna be stages. So
okay.
when he feels more comfortable about presenting something or being, interactive with
Okay,
committees, I'm sure he would.
right, well then.
I can't speak for him.
Yeah, no, well, I'll leave it to you to, keep us up to date on what's going on. And obviously, we want to keep adding to this library all the time. And it sounds like you've done a huge amount of GPS work, so that's great. And so
Yes.
we can add a bunch more new walks. That'll be excellent.
And that was one of the other things I wanted to circle back, was the Meeting House Road area. We never had a chance to go back, and I wasn't sure if that was something that, he had gone out and GPSed what existed out there currently, but I didn't know if there was
Oh, you
anything.
mean this little interruption
Yeah.
between the West
Well,
Barnstable Conservation Area and the fire
For
station?
the West Barnstable, the festival that goes on with the walking, there was a specified area that we never were able to go out to GPS for the West Barnstable Festival Day.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure. I'll talk
Yeah.
to you about it another time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing on this.
You can have it.
You can have it.
No, I don't need it.
You don't? Okay.
Okay.
All right, so, going back,
Turn down a minute.
so
Yeah.
maybe I'll keep, unless you need those.
No, that's all right.
Because I don't know if I could ever find these maps again. And go back. All right.
Do you want to give those to Farley?
All righty.
They were in that email.
Next up, okay, letters of support for consideration of the acquisition of land in West Barnstable for water protection purposes. I know that Anne has been working on this, and I know the CPC is going to recommend it. And I guess Mark Ells has been contacted, and he's on board with it. Do you know anything more, Chris?
No, I would not necessarily say he's on board.
Oh, okay.
I did speak to the town manager about this. He has received 3 letters, one from the Hyannis Water Board, one from this committee, and one from the West Barnstable Water Commissioners.
Thank you.
And he asked me if I have spoken to other counselors about that, and he was, he thought perhaps I should. And I'll take his recommendation. He said he was also going to raise this, the subject with town council leadership, which would be President Matt Levesque and Vice President Jen Cullum. So if any of you have town councilors that you'd like to call and get on board, or explain the justification. It's not necessarily to benefit directly West Barnstable residents. It's to ensure a rare opportunity to acquire open space, undeveloped land adjacent to already existing conservation area, which is poised to be one of the primary areas they intend to pursue for future potential water supply, if not the #1 choice. From my understanding, another round of more robust drilling to test the quantity and quality of the water will be happening either the spring into the summer, but a request for proposals went out. But my point is, should this land become developed, then it will be a lost opportunity, if not to put wells there directly, but to augment a buffer for, even if this round of drilling says it's not a good candidate, in 50 or 100 years, it may be critical. So I think that it's 2 reasons. One, it was on the list, or in addition to the justification you've heard. For one, it was on the list of the West Barnstable Water Commissioners' wish list that was developed in 2015. That was a project that this committee initiated, where we visited each water district and asked them for their wish list of properties that could or should be looked at for protection, specifically for water. Secondly, this property has some tax relief with under Chapter 61B. There's Chapter 61A properties that get tax relief for agriculture, and this has some tax relief for recreation, that is, meaning horseback riding. So should it be sold, the property owner would have to offer it to the town, give first right of refusal. But it would be the seller's obligation, from my understanding. I did acknowledge that the price tag is expensive, but unless and until a bona fide appraisal is done, and I was suggesting to the town manager that the Community Preservation Committee would be able to pay for that. Just put a real figure on the table and to advance the discussion. So anyways, I left it with the town manager that he was going to discuss it with town council leadership.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
That's as far as it goes. Thank you.
We'll see what happens. All right. Update on status of outstanding conservation restrictions. Let's see, what have we got here? Harshu. Apparently that came back with comments from the state and is being reviewed by the town. And let's see, what else we got here? Emerald and Prince are at a standstill. Sylvia is done. And let's see, okay, that's all she had. I think Wakebee's was recorded in September, that's all done. The Tanlia Road was recorded in December, so that's all done. And, okay, the update on proposed committee name change to Open Space Committee. So Ann has written to both Karen Knobber and Matt Levesque, and Karen is on vacation right now, and I guess the only seemingly sort of a glitch about all this is whether there was a request that LAPC, well, the Open Space Committee members would request that the CPC have a member-at-large person who is from the Open Space Committee. And to me, I don't know where that really is getting clogged, but I guess there was a sense that there are not too many people in favor of open space right now on the town council, so there's some sort of pushback about it. I don't really know what's going on, but anyway, that's, it has been recommended that CPC have an at-large member from the Open Space Committee, so we'll,
Isn't that what you do now?
yes, exactly, so we would just continue that, so,
But it took us years
Yeah.
to get her
yeah.
on the committee.
If I'm-
Years.
If I may, Farley is on the committee as an at-large member,
Right.
but not necessarily, there's no formal
No-
assignment from this
No
committee.
designated member, right, right. So, but I think Ann was pretty specific that she wasn't requesting a designated position on the CPC, just an at-large member. Oh, anyway,
And from my understanding, she had a conversation with President Levesque.
Beck, yes, that's what
So
she
it would
mentioned.
just continue as is, right?
Should, yeah, but, we'll see. So I don't know that there's been any concern about the actual name change itself.
I wasn't part of that
Yeah,
conversation.
okay. I don't know anything more about it. All right. So Pathways Project and Tracer Bridge construction proposal, I don't know that we have anything on that tonight.
Is that Mr. Payson? Is he working tonight? Doug?
Yes.
Yes, I think so, but
Okay.
not here, unfortunately.
Same.
Yeah. And the Centerville Cranberry Bog, I don't know if there's anything new on that. Does anybody have anything? No? Okay, and Twin Brooks, all I know is that,
They filed an appeal to the Superior Court.
yep, against the Cape
against the
Cod
Cape
Commission. Yeah. So, let's see where that goes. And Phyllis, do you have anything?
No, because we're waiting on Mr. Anthony.
Indeed. Okay. All right, and I don't have much from the last CPC meeting. No. Where did it go? They're still trying to get something figured out with the Armstrong Kelly Park, and that, I think it's an ongoing discussion, and it's going to be, oh, here it is, okay. Let's see. Yeah, they're going to discuss it at the next meeting. And they did approve an application from the Department of Public Works requesting a $999,777 in community preservation, open space, recreation funds for the design and installation of a new playground, sidewalk, sage structure, all that. So that's been approved. But that's sort of outside our realm. Okay. That's about it for CPC. And so, Chris, do you have anything more to add to
I don't, I've already chimed in on what I know, and I think Alicia has been just a crackerjack
Yeah, yeah.
resource for our town to be able to, and she sounds like she's got a good systematic approach, you know, kind of village-wide, so that the, how can I say, concentrate in one area to make sure all the links are good.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
No,
that should
she
be,
seems like she's
yes. And
very
I
businesslike and very,
Yep,
together.
and knows to coordinate with conservation. And I didn't, until she told us, I didn't realize that over the years, these various maps and trail markings were based on older technology that got fresher and fresher, done by different people, so it's, they all weren't in sync. So she's doing a comprehensive update.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
definitely
appreciate,
long overdue.
I
think.
appreciate what
Yeah,
this
she's doing a great job.
resources and the time that she's been able to put towards it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we're going to do our spring walking weekend, May 5th through 7th. And right now, I'm trying to put together a sort of a through Barnstable 3-day hike, you know, in 3 different segments. BLT has very generously offered to, one of their members that wants to lead a hike at Bell Farm over in Katuitt on May 6th. So I'm going to, add that to the roster of possible walks. And anybody else wants to dig in and, come up with a walk, that would be great. I know
So
that.
we would be doing walks in addition to the 3-day through trip?
Yeah, I think we should offer both, because the through walks are, I mean, those are lengthy walks, probably more than 3 miles apiece at least. So, so it'd be nice to offset that with some shorter walks if we could. That would be great, If not, we'll just, we'll just go with what we got, but,
I'll do the Old Neck Walk.
the old neck walk. Okay, great. Okay, that'd be super. So, and maybe can Tracy do the Santuit, or?
I don't want to speak for him.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, with all that, anybody else have anything they would like to bring forth? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming this evening, and join
Can't
us
take-
next month for another edition. All right.
You need a motion.
A motion to adjourn.
I don't think you can move because you don't have a quorum.
Quorum, okay.
We're going to adjourn.
Oh, we just do it.
Yes, we'll do it.
Okay, we are adjourned. Okay, I